Okay, the question is, what would you tell an 18-year-old Sadiksha now in hindsight? You're here, you're young, you're mature, you're, single, and you're more aware of who you are.
I would definitely say just trust yourself and really take care of yourself. Because yes, there are going to be people who love you and will be there for you, but at the end of the day, you are your own best friend. Because you have yourself for your whole life, basically. So I would say just really prioritize on taking care of yourself, not just your physical health, but also your mental health, and just really trust yourself because you're going to be just fine.
Self-love भन्ने कुरा गाह्रो हुँदो रहेछ यार.
Yeah, it is. What's your take on self-love? I would like to hear.
Okay, here's the thing. I've told you multiple times. When I was young 20s, I thought I was the bomb. I'm gonna get you.
That's amazing.
I'm gonna like this guy and I'm gonna get him. I like this thing, I'm gonna buy it. I like this career, I'm gonna take it. More proactive, एकदमै हुन्छ नि hyperventilation life बाँचे जस्तो पनि लाग्छ है कहिले कहिले. And that was my definition for self-love के हुन्छ. मलाई जे चाहिन्छ म गर्छु. मसँग आर्ट पनि छ, मसँग skills पनि छ. If I don't have it, I have enough motivation to go out and build those skills and do the thing that I have to do or I would like to do भन्ने हुन्छ. But when COVID hit and we're all again forced ourselves to just stop and then pause and reflect गर्ने बेलामा चाहिँ it doesn't work that way all the time भन्ने भयो के. Especially with relationships, you have to kind of be patient and be aware of what the other person or the people around you, your friend circles, the choice of people you choose to spend your time with मा चाहिँ अलिकति फरक हुन्छ भनेर थाहा भयो के. अनि त्यसले पनि when your relationships and the things you do affect how you think about yourself, त्यति बेलामा चाहिँ अनि okay, self love भनेको के हो भनेर भौतारिँदो रहेछ के.
It's like I'm back to square one.
Yeah, it's a lifelong process, especially when you have to revamp. Already the definition छ, but you have to unlearn it and relearn it.
Yeah.
मेरो लागि चाहिँ त्यो shift एकदम गाह्रो भयो. I'm still working on it. I think it's a whole lifetime process. It's a work in progress for life. But self love भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ अब like what do you choose to enjoy with yourself rather than doing with other people? What gravitates you? What values do you choose to make decisions with? Like as little as I'm gonna choose this banana over a chip.
Right.
To as big as I'm gonna choose this person for life versus not other. Not that I have a choice right now.
Hey, eventually, yes.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Pani khani ki pops khani like त्यो पनि
little
self-love,
choices
self-love हो, but at the same time यो मान्छेसँग भेट्छु, यो मान्छे toxic छ मेरो लागि, अर्को मान्छे छैन. Like not necessarily that the other person is bad or whatever, but it's the vibe.
Yeah.
That's self-love for me. I mean, the question goes back to you. What self-love for you is?
I think what I heard from your thing mainly, especially when you said तिमी younger हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ म यो गर्छु, यता गर्छु, म गर्न सक्छु. Like when I heard that word, I was like, oh yeah, there was a lot of trust in yourself. And you really believed in yourself, right? So I think for me, self-love, again, I feel like self-love is thrown around so much these days, and I think it's overused basically. Like I feel like it's lost its essence. And almost they thrown out love yourself, and I'm like, okay, but how do you love yourself? Like and people are not willing to talk about those kind of stuff that you go through to really appreciate yourself.
And the worst part is the harshest person you can be is to yourself, right?
Yeah.
हुन्छ नि आफू अरूलाई कति राम्रो भन्ने तर आफूलाई चाहिँ कति तल राख्ने के. अनि त्यो एस्टिमको कुराले गर्दा हो कि किन why are we doing this to yourself?
I think it's a lot of like societal thing too, and especially Nepal Mountains. It's our culture is very like alikati. के भने? I don't know how to describe it. It's such a weird.
It's very complicated, twisted.
It's very twisted. Where it's like I feel like from a very young age, your worth is based on something
communal.
Yeah, communal. Where it's like whether it be the way you look, whether it be the way. Like your grades, for example, that's a big thing in Nepal, right? Like
first, I had a whole podcast about it, I think, in the past.
Right? So like, I feel like you're growing up, and I think it's not just specific to Nepal, actually. I think it's kind of like this whole bigger...
The whole idea of your worth
is being associated to something. I think that makes it difficult to really appreciate yourself for... who you are and really be compassionate. That's why I always try to say like self-love, but then for me it's more about like compassion. That's the word I use, because we're so compassionate to our friends and family. Like say if someone is going, or even sometimes strangers, right? When someone says like I'm going through this hard time, you feel that empathy and you're compassionate towards them. But then if you were to go through that same thing, or if you were to make that same choice, for example, in that given situation, you're going to treat yourself so differently than you would say your family or your friend, right?
Yeah. And नराम्रो different.
राम्रो पनि हैन. Like you just like आफूलाई degrade गर्छ हैन. And I think it comes a lot from our childhood too, and society as well, where it's like if you are your biggest critique, then you can improve. Whether it be the grade, you said you're going to get A+ or whatever, or whether you're going to get this job. If you like are harsh on yourself, you're going to push yourself to move forward. Which in this case, maybe some of it might be true. But again, everything is a balance. So if you're doing too much of that inner critic's it really ruins you, and hence affects your self-esteem and also the whole process of trusting yourself and doing what you really want, right? So I think it's bigger, bigger than just, it's not just us, एउटा मान्छेमा मात्र specific छैन, it's more societal thing, and it's going to take, as you said earlier, it's going to take a lot of unlearning to do, for sure. Yeah.
Courses गर्न जानु पाउँदैन.
Should we make our own courses? Maybe we could try to, as we're struggling through this.
Self-love 101.
No, self-compassion 101.
Congratulations, you have done the certificate.
Oh, God.
Okay, so if you can improve anything to your health, or I guess because of the industry you're in the healthcare industry, what would you like to do moving forward? If you were in control. I know it's a very imaginative, larger than life question.
Yeah, because oh gosh, I would definitely say, at least for this year moving forward, I definitely want to be less harsh on myself. I think that's the topic that we just actually talked about, right, Anthony? Less harsh about my decisions, the decisions I make, or the things I decide to do, right? I want to be more compassionate. I want to talk to myself. This is my motto for this year. Okay. I want to talk to myself as if I'm talking to my best friend. Like that, really trying to get that positive self-talk. And especially during times where I'm having a really hard time, just kind of constantly reminding myself that I've gotten this far and I will be okay. Yeah. I think that's I don't know if you were expecting another answer, but that was kind of my thing for this year and moving forward to Antony. And of course about your physical activity, more garne, go out more, like meet new people, those kind of things are still there, of course. And just kind of continue to explore my creative side. I think that's definitely what I want to do, but at the core of everything is the self-compassion part for me, for sure. Yeah,
it's a huge thing, eh? Do you think you're gonna be more aware, reflective of the relationships that you're gonna choose in terms of partnership?
Yes, I would say so. I think that will definitely affect. And I mean, त्यो आफ्नो एउटा उस हुन्छ नि त हैन, And not necessarily like putting a high expectation, but like having some sort of standard as well. Because I think you got to have that for sure. High expectation, I know, but like standard for yourself. Like these are the kind of people that I allow myself to have in my life.
What's your deal breaker?
Like relationship wise?
Yeah. Do you think, okay, friendship, हामी छौं, साथीमा धेरै साथी चाहिदैन, okay, you're done.
Hey, it's good to have friends, you know? Like,
okay. No, I agree.
But no, like relationship wise, deal breaker. Oh God. I think ego plays a big part. Like when someone has a lot of ego, like where it's like...
Did you mean like a masculine ego?
Yeah, I mean, just ego in general, where they just think like, you know, they are above everyone else or better than someone else because of their job could be, or because of the way they look, whatever the reason could be. I think for me, that's a big deal breaker, is where there's a lot of ego playing where you think you're superior than someone else, because I don't think anyone is superior than anyone else. There's always something you're better than, you know, at doing than someone else. Yes, there could be like skills wise, but that doesn't necessarily make someone like the person, you know, like you are everything, like you're nothing, I am everything kind of thing. There's no such thing.
Humble person.
Yeah, so definitely a humble person. I definitely appreciate people who are humble. You know, who are like talented, but humble as well. Of course, like there's got to be a line where it's like, you know, you need to take a bit of pride. You need to take pride in what you do and who you are. Yeah, you should own it, but not in I don't know how to describe it, like not in an arrogant way. Yeah. Where you're like humble about it and you're respectful as well.
Girl,
disrespectful people freaking
Nepalis चाहिँ पाउँदैन जस्तो लाग्छ.
Oh God.
90%
Isn't that bad?
I mean, this is my assumption, but 90% of men would like to think it in an arrogant way, I mean, this could come as a backlash to me, but I don't care. That's been my experience so far.
It comes from your experience, right? Yeah. Like, and yeah, your experience is unique to yours, right? So, yeah, unfortunately, there are a lot of people that are not very nice. There are nice people too, but it's hard to find people that are just good human beings, genuine people. That's why I would say like genuine humans. Yeah, that's all I want. Genuine people, you know.
That's
it's so
a very
hard.
Short list, I would say.
Well, you want me to go through like a whole physical, mental, like everything?
Maybe like what are the physical attributes? I mean, that's more of a...
I mean, physical attributes, you know, I think for me at this time, like now that I've matured.
Oh please, oh please. You're very young, okay?
Now that's what I'm saying. I've matured. I'm not saying I'm old. I've just matured, right? Like I've matured. I've gone to this place where I'm at now, and I do sort of know who I am and what I want in general with people that are around me and with my life in general. I think for me, physical attributes wise, as long as I find something about them like attractive. Like they don't have to be the most good looking or person out there. Okay. As long as like something about them, whether it be their eyes, their smile, I don't know, the way they just carry themselves, as long as I find that attractive, for me that's enough. Yeah.
What's the vague one?
How is it vague? Like I don't know what to tell you. Like you tell me that. Now why don't you tell me so I can like take some notes from you and then I can move forward. Like
Meta physical attributes of a man would be tall, white, handsome. The emotional aspects would be dependable, reliable. Like I have all these, adjectives that I've made a list for myself. Nouns, my trust and responsibility. And everybody has their own definitions of what love is. But for me, love is more about the communication. He's gonna be the one I'm gonna talk the most in my life.
Yeah.
So I gotta make sure or I gotta भन्दा नि we gotta make sure that we're on the same board when we talk about different topics, different subject matters, or different, you know, choices of lives. अनि are we on the same board? Like,
right.
How effective is your communication skills to articulate what your opinions are to me? Because I'm willing to do that. If I'm putting my best foot front, are you willing to put the best foot front for me? And yeah, love ko definition definitely is a huge part for me. It's a responsibility or communication ma chahi aउँछ.
No, those are, I think, great. Like those two, you know, communication.
गाह्रो हुँदो रहेछ because like what I've found is myself, म आफू नै introspect गर्ने बेलामा चाहिँ I tend to say things when I'm happy, but follow up lesser than when I say oh भेटौँ भन्छ हैन. And this is the week passes by and the 2 weeks passes by and the months pass by and it's still stuck in my body. हुन्छ नि त्यो भनेको कुरा I have to do it भन्ने हुन्छ. तर for some weird reason कि मैले follow up गर्न सक्दैन कि त्यो मान्छे proactive हुँदैन भने चाहिँ अनि kind of is like okay, the unsettling feeling चाहिँ भइराख्दो रहेछ के. So but if I do that I feel a little bit accomplished के. अनि I want to be with a person whom I can be more accomplished than just feel guilty about it के हुन्छ नि. यो गरौँ भन्यो नि गरिहालौँ न त भनेर त्यस्तो proactiveness पनि देखाइदिनु पर्यो नि त. Because like me as a person I'm very upbeat personality. I'm just more about okay, let's do this भन्ने टाइपको छ. तर it is gonna be like no, let's not भन्ने भयो भने चाहिँ it's not gonna work out for sure.
More like spontaneous type.
Yeah, spontaneous for sure. That brings a lot of chemistry and playfulness in our relationship. Playfulness is a big thing.
Yeah, it is. No, for sure.
जिस्किनै सकेन हुन्छ नि त्यो टीज भएन भने एकअर्कासँग हुन्छ नि कुरा गर्ने बेलामा खुसी हुन सकेन फनी भएन भने लाइक के कुराले तिमीलाई फनी बनाउँछ. उसको ड्याड जोक मलाई लेम लाग्छ भने मेरो ड्याड जोकलाई खुसी लाग्छ कि लाग्दैन राइट. अनि नेपाली भएर पनि होला हैन सोर्ट अफ लाइक भाषाको पनि अलिकति कदर हुँदो रहेछ. सो प्रेफरेन्स चाहिँ नेपाली नै हो हैन. All the single men out there.
All the Nepalese men in Vancouver, please contact Sujata Lama.
Oh my gosh.
She is a single, ready to mingle for sure.
Oh my god. Thanks for that shout out.
Can I give your number here? No. I'm just kidding.
I'm just kidding. Kill you. But it would be nice to just, you know, go out with people and get to know more.
Yeah.
Another thing is I get to be all in. अब कसरी मोल्ड भयो भन्दाखेरि ओके जो मान्छेलाई मन पराए त्यही मान्छेसँग बिहा गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने सोच भयो नि त. त्यसरी नै हुर्क्यो. अब वरिपरि पनि मान्छेहरूले त्यसरी नै गर्यो. जसलाई भेट्यो त्यसलाई बिहा गर्यो त्यससँग बच्चा पायो. And by the time you're 28, 29, which is our age, they don't know what they've done in their life in the past decade. Any relationships are torn or they just find other partners or you know even they're together, they don't know how to figure things out. And the happiest partners are those who keep talking to each other. के हुन्छ नि बोल्ने त्यो प्लेफुलनेस त्यो जिस्किराख्ने घुम्न गइराख्ने त्यस्तो हुँदो रहेछ क्या. अनि I would love to have or not have but spend quality time with my partner who tends to be aware but at the same time take life easily.
More like self-reflective type को भन्नु खोज्छ.
Self-reflective आफ्नो time अनि independent पनि हुनु पर्यो. Right, it's co-dependent हुनु पर्यो के interdependent भन्दा.
You think codependent really? You think you would want to be in a relationship you're like so dependent on each other?
No. Interdependent is when you are dependent on each other, no?
I thought that was codependent, no? Oh God, I gotta look this up now.
I don't know, me too. Just look into the...
I think you mean like not dependent on each other, right? Like you are both together, but at the same time you are able to be your own individuals as well.
Exactly.
In the relationship where you haven't lost yourselves completely. Like दुईजना मात्र भएको गर्ने नभए outside of that there's no one else kind of type like right?
Yeah, definitely. It's more so like you are a whole person yourself.
Yeah.
And the other person is likewise. but it would be really nice to just share that with each other. हुन्छ नि. I can spend my time, quality time with myself, but wouldn't that be nice if we would spend quality time together, like watch a movie or like shower together or like whatever.
Okay, let's not go towards showering together. Like, I don't know who's listening to this podcast, but showering together, let's not get not get there, girl.
Okay. So the context, you understand the context of how I guess my expectation of a relationship is. And to be honest, I think it's the same expectation for a lot of people as well.
Yeah, I think, like, you know, where you had mentioned something about communication and like responsible, I think that's one of the biggest factors in any relationships. Communication is such a big thing. You know, you can't read each other's mind, right?
You have to put it out there.
Yeah, you have to. If you need something or if you want something, you have to express this, and your partner has to be able to do the same thing as well, right? And I think for me, adding on to what you have with the communication part, I think another part would also be respect.
Oh, yeah.
For each other.
Yeah.
That's a big thing I look as well, because, you know, respect is also a form of love, for me, at least. Being able to respect each other and be honest with each other is a form of love, for sure.
कतिपय कुरामा you may not necessarily agree.
Yeah, exactly. I will do the possible one, right? Like, can you imagine if, like, I think I would be suffocated if my partner, like, and he's like, yeah, sure. Like, you know, following me around like like a dog. Like, that would be very suffocating, right?
Yeah.
You would want to be challenged somehow with the opinions, the values you have. Not in, like, a aggressive way, of course, in a certain way where you're like, oh, I never thought of it that way. Actually, that's a good point. Or, oh, that it makes you think, you know. Or
it's a push and pull, I know.
Yeah, like, it's a little bit of the challenge चाहिँ हुनुपर्छ जस्तो लाग्छ relationship. And with that challenge, I'm saying, like, respect पनि हुनु पर्यो, differing opinions. If you have differing opinions and stuff, you need to have respect for each other as individuals. So
you can come across rude really easily when you're trying to express your opinions.
Or sometimes you think, like, you're right because that's all you've known your whole life, right? And I do that sometimes too, where I think I'm right.
One-dimensional.
Yeah, one, like, just like, yeah, I know I'm right because that's all you've known. But that doesn't, like, just because you think you're right doesn't mean you're right. I know. So, or vice versa too.
Also, just because you're right doesn't mean just your way is right.
Is the right way to do things. Yeah, exactly.
There are so many other ways to do the things, and that could be right.
And it's really nice, you know, when, like, people, I like to, like, chat with people who have differing opinions than me, because you get to learn so much about not just yourself, but more, like, be able to empathize with people better, I feel like.
There's so much richness in the world when it comes.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, wow, like, I never thought that way, or I would have never thought that way. Like, how did that person even think of it this way, right? Like, it amazes me most of the times, you know. I mean, sometimes some of the conversations I'm just like, oh my God, like, kill me now. Like, this is not it.
Hopefully you haven't been to many.
Not too many, thankfully. But sometimes it's like, some of the things that's mentioned, you're just like, oh, wow, I never thought of it. And it makes you want to learn or know more about that person. And I think that's the amazing part, for sure, about different human experiences, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah, where humans are so weird living beings, eh?
Oh, like, the main intricately... It's like we want to be alone, but at the same time, it's like that thing where it's like, I want to be seen, I want to be heard, but at the same time, I'm terrified to be seen and I'm terrified to be heard. I think that's what humans are.
Yeah. You want the attention, but not too much. Yeah. You want the love, but you don't.
Not too much.
And the way you want to be loved is,
and like, it's different for everybody. Yeah, it's different for everybody, right? Yeah. So, yeah, it's hard to find that balance, and everyone's so different. So I think, at the end of the day, we just gotta be kind to ourselves and to everyone, to the others too, including your partner. Just be a bit kinder. Yeah. That
self-consciousness and awareness comes through through challenges, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Through adverse experience panum ki?
Yeah, like experience definitely does mold you, and it doesn't have to be from one particular person or another. It's just like add up of everything, whether it be at your work, whether it be outside of your work, everything. That's what life is, right? I know. I'm just like, why are we talking about such heavy stuff? That's what life is. What is life? What is love?
Yeah. My 40 years basically 40 pani haina. I think there's been eons of time where people have just researched about this topic.
Yeah, I know.
And you know, just this morning I read an article that the healthiest way to maintain a relationship and appreciate it is just by saying thank you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So not just thank you to your partner, but people around you. Like, for example, you just go to a restaurant and you just thank the server. That will influence your partner or the other person to say thank you more often. And those circles build the whole vibe gets more positive, right? And it's 17% likely chances that your relationships will be healthier if you if you appreciate your partner better. Like, not just saying thank you, but thank you for doing the dishes or making the coffee. You didn't have to make a coffee for your you didn't have to make the coffee for me, but you did. So thank you. And
I guess the whole idea of the idea of feeling appreciated and heard, I think that's what I hear from when you say thank you, because there have been thank you, Suzette, thank you. But to thank you, and I think that's how I'm interpreting it as, at least it's like just that our human nature want to be appreciated for the things we do. Because again, like so like coffee linit hama, like the simple thank you. Maybe the barista was having a bad day and you just brighten it up. So I think the gist, the appreciative or feeling like they need to feel, as humans we need to feel like we are being appreciated for the work we do or how we are. So even the simple thank you can make a difference. That's how I see it, as at least when you were saying that, I was like, oh, that's the word that came to my mind. Oh, appreciativeness. That's the word that came to my mind when you were saying that. The article about him. Yeah.
The tulo circle. So imagine a like white opaque circle, and there is a tiny heart on the right and a small star on the left.
Okay.
So in that whole opaque white circle, that tiny heart are the things that you would like to do. That tiny star is what you need to do in a relationship, right? And that white part is the appreciative part, right?
Yeah.
So white part is the appreciative
part. Oh, I see.
So majority of the relationship is, I guess, just going back to what you said, being more respectful and like appreciative of the existence.
Yeah. Because especially in our culture, I feel like when there's no, oh, thank you, as
okay, हाम्रो culture-को बारेमा कुरा गरौँ. I am excited about Nepali culture.
No, I'm just like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing per se. I'm not like trying to criticize the culture, but having grown up in Nepal for 14 years and now I'm living here, that's one of the major differences I see, especially when I see my parents interact and stuff too, where the appreciativeness
it's just a given thing.
Yeah, it's a given thing. It's like, okay, you do something, like you make, I don't know, you clean the house, for example, when your partner was away, for example. I'm just taking this as an example. When they come back, it's just like, oh, God, clean gari, okay, or like they don't even mention it or just leave it as is. Versus of yahako culture malikati, I'm not saying everyone, but I have seen where, it's like, oh, thank you for doing that. Thank you so much for doing that. And they, even just that word, just saying that makes such a big difference, where I don't see that as much Nepali culture. I don't know if it's just my household or from my experience, but those little things, right. Thank you, or even just the word, like, I know it's very cheesy, I love you or something, or just like appreciating or complimenting your partner. I don't see that at all, where it's like, I really admire this thing about you. Just like, it doesn't even have to be like, I'm not saying like compliments, like, oh, you're the most gorgeous person I've ever met. Nothing like that. It's more like, I really admire your courage, like the way you stood up for yourself yesterday, or the way you handled this thing. I really admire that. There's no such appreciation that I see in our culture. And that's something I'm like, if I want to be in a committed long-term relationship, that's something I want to bring forward, and I want to be that person. And I hope that my partner will also do that for me as well. Like, because sometimes it's like, oh, thank you भनिराख्नु पर्यो, यस्तो आफ्नो उसकोमा नि, like you hear that, or like, I love you भनिराख्नु पर्यो, के यस्तो गर्नु पर्यो, and I'm just like,
हामी I love you मुखले हैन कामले भन्छ
no, I mean that's true, right? Like action, but yeah, exactly. There's not मान्छेले त्यसै words of affirmation त भनेछ नि त हैन, not to sound fluffy or anything,
no,
but
it is a language of
but
love.
it is a language of love, where it's like, yes, actions speak louder than words, and 100% action does matter, but also those like few times, it doesn't need to be an everyday thing, but the few times when you are really appreciated for who you are, I think makes a big difference. Okay?
But now that we're talking about language of love,
yeah,
so we have 5 languages of love, right? And how to love to your partner. So affirmations is one.
Yeah,
for sure. Gifts, where you exchange, you give something to express how you feel about people. Any actions is a huge thing. भनेर मात्र पनि हुँदैन, कहिले कहिले गरेर देखाउनु पर्छ रे, गरेर मात्र हुँदैन, कहिले भनेर पनि देखाउनु पर्छ, right?
We all these what do you call lists, hey?
Love languages. No, it is like scientifically proven. Affirmation, acts of service, exchanging gifts, quality time, and physical touch.
Oh, yes, I've heard of those before. Yes.
Yeah. So if you identify with one of these categories, and you think that you have been some way in the past, like you should express that to your partner or potential partner. हामीहरुको चाहिँ अब acts of service चाहिँ गरे affirmation,
or sometimes that's lacking too, honestly.
or one or the other हुँदो रहेछ.
Yeah, one or the other.
गऱ्यो भने नबोल्ने.
त्यही हो, अब it's like, again, everyone's different, but at the end of the day, I think सबैलाई they appreciated feel right? So,
and I think we have to make the change.
Yeah.
And
I mean, words of affirmation is something I'm not very good at. Like, some of my friends are amazing at it. Yeah. And
I think you're good at it.
Really? Okay, maybe I've gotten better then.
I don't know who you are as a partner. So.
I'm definitely trying to work more towards words of affirmation, for sure, because I'm very much like, I'm more physical touch and more acts of service, gifts and stuff. Words of affirmation doesn't come to me very easily. And again, as I said, to say grow up by which is, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but as I'm growing up and as I'm like building my life on my own, I'm realizing that's something that I want to incorporate more into my life, because initially when like people would shower me with words of affirmation, whether I love you or
you don't take
I love
it
this,
easily.
I don't. I still sometimes find it like a little bit awkward.
Do compliments make you awkward?
It does, and I have such a hard time believing them too. Like,
Sadiq say you're a beautiful human being.
Shut up.
See, you have to take it.
Oh, I should
try
to
take it in a very positive way.
Yeah.
Okay. So Sadiq, you are a very beautiful human being.
Thank you, Suzata, and the same goes for you too. I really appreciate you. I appreciate our friendship, and I appreciate you for just always being so open and honest and just being you.
Oh, thank you. See? Alikati awkward. I'm kind of like, yeah, thank you so much, but I feel so awkward about it.
No, it's I think growing up, I mean, this so sunego nanda sano mani, right? So
हामीले चाहिँ so नेपाली at least अरू कल्चरको कुरा भन्दा पनि नेपाली सिस्टम्समा चाहिँ कसरी यो मोर इन्कर्पोरेट गर्ने टाइपको आउँछ कि, not that I'm like responsible for the whole community, but as I'm speaking and I have an audience, is to think about how you choose, how you are as a partner, and what are you bringing on the table versus what the other person is bringing, and then I'll bring myself. भन्ने attitude चाहिँ मैले चाहिँ छोड्नु पर्ने भएको छ. I think I am a lot like, okay, I'm gonna bring this भनेर भन्नुपर्छ to myself rather than त्यो केटाले के लिएर आउँदो रहेछ त, what strength does he have भन्ने.
I mean, I think those are legit questions though, but
कि जस्तो नि लाग्छ कि.
I wouldn't say narcissistic, but I think I talked about it earlier हुन्छ नि, त्यो एउटा high expectation versus standard हुन्छ नि. I think त्यसमा अलिकति distinguish पनि गर्नुपर्छ, because sometimes I feel like we get so caught up with all these expectations we have set for our partners हुन्छ नि, when we ourselves are not there, okay?
त्यही त.
You know what I mean? Like we say like, I want this, like all these lists. Or a generic like आफ्नो उस्तो हुनुपर्छ, right? Like communication, respect, those kind of things. I think that's super important in any sort of relationships. But I feel like when it comes to choosing a partner or like even just dating, right? Not even like a life partner, just dating too. I feel like we create so much of that list that it almost blinds us sometimes. Because none of us are perfect, and there's one thing that's not going to check off on this. Like, and honestly, if you were in the position that, if the positions were switched, like, are you that to that person too? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Are you improving yourself?
Yeah, like, are you, like, what are you at least 5 of the items that you've listed in your list, right? That's how I look at it, at least, you know?
Yeah, reciprocally.
Yeah, exactly. Because if I'm not at that state myself, then how can I expect so much from other person? And why am I expecting so much from the other person? Just
okay. Question.
Like, yeah.
So the default is man has to be provider and the woman is the nurturer, right? No?
Yeah.
What do you think? Should be interchangeable, or it is okay for the man to be provider and you, or a woman to be nurturer?
Dang, this is a big question you asked me. I'm like, what?
किनभने त्यसले पनि कति डायनामिक्समा चेन्ज गर्दो रहेछ के, because now that we are independent women, we work for ourselves, and we've come to a point where any decision made comes from our voice, like the consequences have to be borne by us.
Yeah.
So might as well voice our opinions भन्ने आउँछ नि त. तर when in a very patriarchal society, men tend to be like always on the upper end.
Yeah.
Ani well, do you want me to be nurturer so I don't have to work? भन्ने सोच हुन्छ कि I equally want to be a provider, so I equally have the right to make the decision.
I think for me, as of now, it should be, I want to be both provider and nurturer. Like, I don't think I should, like, don't necessarily associate men with strictly being provider and not being able to nurture. Of course, nurturing through nature comes in women more naturally, because that's how we are, right? Like,
we're more feminine.
Yeah, we have feminine energy, and nurturing is something that comes to us naturally, but that doesn't mean that men can't either. Like, men can't be a nurturer either. Because I have seen, you know, loving fathers and like very nurturing natures in men as well. So I think the provider and the nurturing part, I think it goes both ways for men and women. I don't think it's, at least for me, it's not like men has to be a provider and I'm just going to stick to nurturing. I think it goes both ways for me, at least. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I like to be nurturer 100%, but this economy doesn't let me.
But you are a nurturer, though. Like, with what you have going on in your life right now, and the things you tell me, you are very much yes, you are a provider, but you are very much of a nurturer too, Suzada, and you're like that with your friends as well.
It's more like a lot of me has a masculine energy, like the way I make decisions, the way I talk to people, the way I present myself to strangers. So it's more masculine. but I would not like to be that way. Okay? I would like to be more feminine, like be shy, be coy, be divergent, so that.
I think you have feminine energy, Suzette. Sorry, excuse me. More like feminine energies comes from, again, that term nurturing, right? Like where you are looking after as well. Because yes, the provider ma pani huna सक्छ हैन, but I feel like you're both. Maybe you're masculine if you feel like maybe your masculine energy is a bit higher than feminine, but I think all of us, even men, have masculine and feminine energies to them,
yin and
right?
yang, for
yeah,
sure.
Yin and yang, and I think all of us throughout our life we try to balance that and try to be at that equilibrium, right?
Will you be my yang?
I hope it doesn't mean something really bad in some other language.
No, it doesn't.
It's just yin and yang. Yeah.
I think it's more of a Chinese way of balancing both energies. Which actually brings us to the end of the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Sadiqa. Okay, last question. If you had a choice to become an animal, which one would you be?
Oh, an animal. Does like a mythical creature count?
Yeah, that works.
I was gonna say dog, but I was like, I would say dragon.
Dragon?
Yeah,
Why
I feel
so?
like mythical. Something about dragons I've always found so, so interesting. And I'm always drawn to any sort of pictures of dragons or any sort of story. Not just that, it's just like when I see dragon, it just reminds me of more of that very, not comforting. I don't know why I was gonna say comforting. It's not comforting energy. It's more that fierceness, right? Like that courage. It reminds me of courage and just being able to soar in the sky. And I mean, birds fly too. I'm like, as if birds don't fly. I'm like, yeah, dragons are flying. But just that fierceness, the courage, dragons remind me of that. And that's something I want more in my life for myself. So I think if I were to be I know you said animal, but I'll say mythical creature, I would definitely choose to be a dragon. Yeah.
Okay, I hope you become dragon on your next life.
In my next life, yeah, a dragon.
Thanks so much, Sadiqa. Any last words, feedback you want to give me? How was it for you?
I did not know what I was walking into. She did not let me look at any of the questions she was going to ask. So, but no, I really, really enjoyed it. It felt like a very, everyday conversation we usually have. And it was very nice. And thank you for creating such a fun and easy environment for me to be able to talk about anything and everything. So thank you.
Yeah,
that's
mostly
all
we talked about boys, but all right.
I don't think so. We talked about other stuff too. Hey, let's give ourselves more credit on this, okay?
All right. Well, thanks so much.
All right. Bye.
Bye.